former Vice President Kamala Harris is throwing her support behind Representative Jasmine Crockett for the Texas Senate race. Crockett's competing on the Democratic side against Representative James Tallarico, with the state's primary election being held on Tuesday.
Now, Crockett has a history of working with Harris, having served as a co-chair for her 2024 presidential campaign. The Texas Tribune first reported that Harris recorded a robocall where she encouraged Texas Dems to get out and vote for Crockett in the primary. In the call, Harris says, quote, Texas has the chance to send a fighter like Jasmine Crockett to the United States Senate. Jasmine has had the experience and record to hold Donald Trump and his billionaire cronies accountable. She ends the call saying, quote, it's time to turn Texas blue. The last time Democrats won a Senate election in the Lone Star State was when Senator Lloyd Bentsen got reelected in 1988. The race between Crockett and Tallarico has been hotly contested, with a recent poll from Emerson College giving Tallarico a slight edge. It has Tallarico with 52% of the vote and Crockett with 47%. But the results are within that margin of error.
On social media, the reactions to Harris's endorsement were varied. Attorney Blake Allen writing on X, great news for Crockett on her final get out the vote push, trying to convince holdouts before Election Day. If you're her camp, you'd have ideally wanted this 2 weeks ago before early voting began, but you can take what you get. Attorney Sarah Spector writes, robocalls, what's next? A Beyonce endorsement? Crockett is desperate.
On the Republican side, things are also close between longtime Senator John Cornyn and Attorney General Ken Paxton. The same Emerson College poll shows Paxton with a 4-point lead over Cornyn. Following
Tuesday's primary election results, it'll be a long 8-month battle leading up to Election Day on November 3rd. This is, I don't agree with whoever that attorney we read. Kamala Harris's endorsement is nothing but upside for Jasmine Crockett. Will help her in her conflict with Tallarico. This is among Democratic primary voters. These are partisan, Trump-hating Democrats. They don't hate Kamala. They might not think Kamala Harris is the ideal candidate, but they listen to what she says and they
I think the time,
broadly like
the day,
her. So
a couple days before, it's like, well, Jasmine was, blowing up in polls. I know making a decision within the Democratic Party means you're choosing a side between moderate and the fighter idea that Jasmine Crockett has. So maybe she was being
looks like she's going to get it to me, honestly. I think it's obvious that James Tallarico is the stronger general election candidate, but Democratic primary voters can opt for Jasmine Crockett. They're more partisan and more liberal than the general election audience.
And it's so funny because they're mirroring exactly what Republican primary voters are doing. They're opting to not choose John Cornyn, who probably would win.
He's dead in the water. He will not win. It is over, folks. Ken Paxton will absolutely.
No, I meant he might win this. He might have won the Senate race because he's more of the moderate candidate.
Yeah, right.
But he's not going to get a chance to even fight in the Senate race.
Will have a harder time winning, but it's a red state, so.
So I heard the argument that Republicans intentionally want Jasmine Crockett to win out of Tallarico and her because they think they can.
And Democrats want Paxton to win.
But no. Here's the thing. Jasmine Crockett, I want to know what you think Ken Paxton is banking on for his winning in the perspective of Texas voters, because Jasmine Crockett is banking on the idea that, in the last election, the presidential election, 50% of voters in Texas as a state were apathetic, meaning they didn't even vote. And so she's like, I can get people off their couches to come out to vote for me, because it doesn't mean that none of them were Democrats. It means that they were just tired of elections or too busy or whatever you call it, the reason you don't vote. People have a lot of excuses about why they won't vote. And she has a lot of name recognition. So she could really break this thing and really cause drama and ripples throughout this election that hasn't been won by a Democrat in decades.
Well, that's just a silly story she's telling herself in her head, but that doesn't matter, right? She has every right to seek the she doesn't care if she wants to win it. She doesn't care if the Democrats win it. She wants to win it. She doesn't care. She doesn't want James Tallarico to win it. She wants to win it. So even if she has less of a chance than James Tallarico, that's somebody else. James
Tallarico got a huge boost from his late night episode that never aired, and a lot of people learned about him. I mean, if he can't be there with that,
it's close, but it's, again, in primaries, the more combative and less electable candidate often wins. This is what Republicans have done over and over again in states that are, not. It's one thing to get the really, really conservative, firebrand, more controversial person in Mississippi or Arkansas. In Arizona, that didn't work out so well.
Right.
In Maine, if somebody primaried Susan Collins, that would just be the end of Republicans holding that seat. It would be over.
Right.
Texas is safe-ish red, but not totally safe. They could blow it. Republicans are certainly setting themselves up to blow it, and that would not. It's within the realm of possibility that it happens, but Jasmine Crockett's going to make them breathe a little easier.
I don't agree with that
Crockett
at all.
and Paxton are both clowns, and the prospect of either of them entering the Senate.
I don't agree with that at all. Texas Republicans spent $88 million already, almost $90 million on this race. Democrats have spent about $22 million on this race. I think that both parties are nervous no matter who the candidate will be because it's still up in the air. So if you put Tallarico against Cornyn, it would be equally a tight race. And now if you put Jasmine Crockett up against Ken Paxton, it's going to be equally as tight as a race because people have to decide which fighter, dramatic policies, and not even the policies aren't that much different. It's just the attitude.
Which combination of people, but
the policies really aren't that different. The attitude is really the different thing. What type of leader do you want? I think this should be a message for both parties about what people who actually are really invested in the party want moving forward. Democrats need that message more than Republicans because they need to know whether they go and lean into the AOCs of the world or if they lean into the Abigail Spanbergers, which they leaned into for the State of the Union.
Governor of the state, Governor Hot Wheels. He's in a wheelchair.
Don't make me list the things that Trump has called people.
No. We're not.
Okay.
I'm not talking about
Trump. Okay.
Trump to the side for one
I was saying because I got a list.
We're talking about Paxton and Crockett.
Okay.
And I was explaining why they're controversial characters and why they're weaker. So Paxton has a bunch of scandals. He had charges brought against him. He had some kind of messy affair type thing going on. His wife has been very vocal about how bad he is. So that's going to be that. Crockett is obviously
she's a fighter.
She's a moron.
No, I don't think she's a dumb lady. She's actually pretty smart. What?
Jeffrey Epstein.
What? Okay, that was a miscalculation, and she responded to that terribly. She responded to that terribly,
saying, "Well, his name is Jeffrey Epstein." She was talking about a different person.
That wasn't right. I can just
Governor
say that.
Hot Wheels.
That wasn't right.
Did you see she threw one of a reporter out of the Atlantic?
And I said that wasn't right. I said that wasn't right because we can't complain about the fact that President Trump has iced out from early days of his second presidency. Iced out. No, I know. Iced out the AP. I'm saying I was very vocal about how I didn't like that strategy. You can't ice out reporters that you don't like the way they're reporting on you. They're covering the story and saying and using quotes that they feel align with the story they're trying to tell, and you can't then disassociate. That's a free press, and it's against the same things that a lot of people are arguing that the president does, not to bring him into this conversation.
Right. It could be normal people running, but primary voters don't like normal people. They like weirdo television extremist personalities, and so that's what we're going to get. Great.
All right. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. making another appearance on Joe Rogan's podcast. Up next, we'll hear what he had to say about ICE, as well as the Trump executive order that angered some of the Maha crowd.